Hello, Josephine. Josephine. Nade.
Hi, Lucy. I hope you are in the call. We are about to begin. We'll just give those who are joining just another 2 minutes and then we will start.
Hi, Joseph, I'm around. I think I'm ready when you tell us to start.
Okay, thank you. Lucy, we can proceed. The rest of them will find us on the way.
Okay, thank you then, Joseph. I think maybe you can share your screen as you did last time. I think that was much better.
Okay, sharing right away.
Sawa, thank you. Okay, I hope, how is everyone doing today? I hope you all had a good week so far. I'm excited to start and continue with our lesson on job readiness. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go through a recap of what we did last time. Maybe you can remind ourselves, maybe even for the sake that for those who are not in last time, they can get a clue of what we went through. So maybe anyone can tell us what they remember of what we did last time. Who's ready to tell us what they learned last time? Hannah. Hannah, how are you?
Excuse me, can I try?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, last time on 23rd March, we studied about introduction of work ethics to young graduates.
Okay.
We perused the module components. We also looked at the common sense that you will take to work, characteristics of a good employee, the job search, and I think many more. Maybe that's enough for me.
Okay, thank you. Something that has been said or that has not been said?
Can I say something, please?
Okay, you can go ahead, Mary.
Okay, thank you. I think what we looked at in our last class, we looked at about job readiness. And I remember we covered like maybe how we are supposed like to search for our jobs. Like I remember you even like told us like key sites that we can visit if we're intending to look for jobs. Like I think there's
Okay, I think I lost you somewhere, Mary.
you also discussed about setting career progression goals.
Yeah.
In the sense that even when you get your first job, it's important to like map out your career so that you can know where am I going to head after I leave this particular place and move to another place. It's also important to consult people who have been in that field before because they can provide you with more guidance. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you are very attentive. That's a good thing. Maybe Kevin, I can see your hand is up.
Okay, in our previous lesson,
yes,
we looked at the job market in Kenya, how it is that we have a very huge number of unemployed youths. We also saw that we need to prepare our CV well in order to get the job, and we saw that 50% of resumes which are sent in job application, they are not looked at. And if they look, employers only spend like 15 seconds, so you have to make a really good first impression. I remember we also looked at characteristics of a good employee, which are like being positive, reliable, motivated. We also looked at being job ready, which you told us that it involves understanding the job and having the right skills for the job. Then we also looked at job search, and you informed us that there are many cons out there and we should be careful. You even shared a story of how you lost 1,000 shillings to a first job advertisement. And I remember you also shared with us some websites where we can find jobs and apply for them, like Brighter Monday, JobWeb, GT Job. Yeah, that's what I remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I think that was a good recap. I think that the three of them have really highlighted what we went through. So maybe I'll just will share with us the next slide so that we can just see in case there is anything that has been missed out. We learned that we intend to learn on how we're going to get a job and keep at that job. We say that will also help us gain skills that will make sure that we develop good work habits that will facilitate our ongoing success in whatever workplace we are going to be looking at. And as been mentioned, we said that we looked at the work situation in Kenya. We also looked at what Kevin has just said, that an employer will take a maximum of 15 seconds to look at your CV. And this is why we are learning this, so that we'll make sure the employer is taking longer than 15 seconds within your CV. We looked at how to be job ready, the characteristics, and the steps to becoming job ready. I really will not go through that again because today's lesson, I know it's going to be very interesting and it's going to be very interactive, and it can tend to take longer than we may expect. So now that we say that, I just want us to introduce the lesson for today. Today we're going to be looking at resume writing, cover letters, and also writing of our references. This is what is going to prepare us to get into those jobs that we are looking forward to. And when we get into those jobs, now we'll be able to get to the next step of excelling in that job. But leo nataka to make sure tumeandika hizo CV zikae vizuri. Zikikaa vizuri, then itakuwa inatuweka mahali pazuri kwa employers, yeah? So we'll just start on this first segment, which is resume writing. And maybe who can tell me what a resume is?
Hello.
Yes.
I can say a resume is the same as curriculum vitae.
Yes.
So it talk about yourself, done. Yeah, mostly about yourself and your achievement and your work experience, schooling, education. Yeah, that's it.
That's true. Thank you. As she said, a resume or a CV is something that just gives a brief overview of who you are, what are your skill sets, what are the qualifications that you possess, and what is your area of expertise. Yeah, it gives the employer, ni kama unajiintroduce kwa employer kama hajakuona, because again, we are a number of people and we cannot all introduce ourselves at a go. So this is what is going to represent you as Richard, you as Felix. That's what is going to represent you in your absentia. And this is why we want our CVs at the end of the day to be how you want your employer to see you. And how do you make your employer like what they see? By writing something that is relevant, by having a good presentable CV. That is how they are going to be interested in looking at what you're presenting. So we can say that we can look at the importance of the importance of a resume, and maybe who can give me why they think a CV is important. I know I've said some of them, but I'd like to hear from you guys why you think a CV is important. Tony, you can go ahead. Just tell me why you think a CV is important.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I think the CV is important because it gives the prospective employer that idea about who you are before you actually show yourself to him or her who you are.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Tony. Beatrice?
Yeah, a CV is important because it helps the employer look at various people who might be fit for the job and decide on who is best depending on the qualifications they need. And also,
Thank you. I think both of you have summarized what is the purpose of your resume and your CV. The purpose is to show your skills and experiences, as I've mentioned, to show that you're a good fit for that job, to also highlight those accomplishments and achievements that you've had over whether it's through your education life or your work experience. It really just shows who you are to your employers. Yeah. We'll go to the next slide and see how we can build our resume. How do we even start? Yeah. Because now we have known why the importance of writing a resume. Now we want to know how we're going to build this resume. Yeah. When we are writing our resume, we will want to focus on those skills and achievements, because we've said we want the employer to know why you're a good fit for this job. So we will want to focus on those skills and achievements that you've had over the years or over your education life. When we are doing our resume, we will be selective of what we are going to include, because again, your CV is not your autobiography. You do not just write anything and everything in your CV. We are writing what is relevant to this job, what is putting yourself in your employer's position. Yeah? Unajiweka wewe kama employer. Ukiona hiyo CV utajiri mtu ama hautamwajiri. Then that will guide you in what you're going to be writing or what you're going to be presenting. We'll also prioritize the job description information that you got when you got to your area or your previous workplace. What do I mean by this? Ukiingia kazini, kuna ile job description unapeangwa. For those of you maybe who do not know what a job description is, a job description is just basically a listing or guidelines of your roles and responsibilities of what you're going to be playing in that organization. So tuseme maybe umeingia kama a customer service executive, job description itakueleza kazi yako on a day-to-day basis. Itakuwa hii na hii. Kama it's answering of calls, answering of emails, responding to customer complaints and inquiries, then that will be written down for you there. If it requires for you to do reports at the end of the month or at the end of the day, then it will be included in your job description. This is what you will include in your CV. Utasema my duties and responsibilities were this: daily report writing, answering to customer complaints, ensuring that customers' needs were met within a certain time limit. Yeah, that is what you're going to include. Yeah. So at least now we have known how we are going to build our resume, what we are going to be looking at. Now we are going to look at what are the components of your CV. Not everything, but the most important. Because again, we have learned various things in school. Najua hata tukiwa shule, tuliambiwa this is what you're required to include in your CV, there is a number of things tulipewa listing. But now I'm going to be looking at the most important, the one that is relevant na yenye huwezi kosa kwa CV yako. Yeah? Yes, so we can go to the next slide. And this is the contents of your resume. The one thing that you do not miss is your biodata. And I know we have had various people telling us what our biodata consists, but mostly when it comes to your biodata, make sure you do not lack your name and your contact information. Because these are the things that your name is what identifies you as Simon, you as Paul, as Whitney. That is what identifies you as a different person from every other person. So huwezi andika CV bila kuandika jina yako. Na namba yako ya simu na email is important, because once we are done, how is your employer going to communicate to you? Your employer is going to communicate either via email or via your phone number. So it's important that you give relevant information the actual information when it comes to your email and your telephone number. Lakini this is not the limit, but this is the most important. You can choose to include your postal address if you have one. You can also choose to include your LinkedIn profile for any if you have one, that is okay. You can also choose to include, you see, we have graphic designers that have a portfolio, or they have a website where they've put all their works together. You can include that. Yeah, if it's relevant, include it. But such things such as your marriage, such as your religion, we tend to avoid using such as your age, your birth date. I know we've been told to write them in our CV, but I would advise you refrain from writing that, because is it necessary for the job? Highly not. But if the employer has asked that you include that in your CV, then include it. What I want us to also understand is whatever you're going to be writing in your CV, you must be working along the guidelines of the employer ama the job advert that you're responding to. Kwa sababu sometimes the employer might be asking, ensure you indicate your date of birth, ensure you indicate maybe they say ensure you indicate your height. Maybe it's a security position. Ensure you indicate your height and your weight. You see, that is information then you will include in your biodata. But on a normal basis, you would not include it. So I'm not saying that we are limited to only writing your name and your contact information. I'm saying your name and contact information is the most important. But anything else that the employer has requested for, ensure you include it. Then the next thing that you'll be writing or you will be including in your resume is your profile summary. Your profile summary captures your career objectives and your skills and qualifications. And why are we writing a profile summary? Tunaandika profile summary kwa sababu tulisema employers wanatumia a maximum of 15 seconds looking at your CV. And by chance, if they do not get to go through the rest of your CV, at least your profile summary will have just summarized who you are in a second. Sindio? At least itakuwa imemuentice aendelee kusoma CV yako ama asiendelee. So career objective yako ni nini? What is your main goal, or what is your career goal at the moment? Are you looking to build a customer-centric organization? Are you looking towards building sales for the particular organization that you're going to be working in? Are you looking towards increasing or developing a project that is, or what do we say? An app that will generate this and this, yeah? Basically, your career objective is what you're looking forward to doing. Your overall career goal at the end of all this, at the end of working at this particular organization. Then you highlight your skills and qualifications. Maybe me as Lucy, I am a customer service executive or professional with 10 years of experience. I've worked in the NGO world, I've worked in the private or finance sector. And what are my skills, or what are my attributes? I'm a highly motivated person, able to work under pressure, able to use or proficient in the use of computers. And what achievements have I had? When I was working at this and this place, I was able to reduce. Now you list your achievements. Yeah. Do you see how that really just highlights you in good light? Yeah. This is what I want you to include. Then you can go ahead to finish off or include your degree or your qualifications education-wise, certificates that you have had. Maybe if you're a member of what is the ICA pack, the one for CPA. You can say you're a CPA K holder, you are an FA holder. Yeah? So that is what I want you to include. Basically, hiyo imesummarize CV yako such that huyo mtu kama hata soma CV yako hiyo ingine atakuwa najua who Lucy is. Atakuwa najua Lucy amefanya kazi in these sectors, akona skills hizi na hizi na akona certificate kwa hii section. Yeah. Maybe before I go to the next content, I want 1 or 2 questions on biodata and profile summary. You can go ahead, ask anyone with a question on so far on what we've engaged.
I have a question.
Yes. Your name, please?
My name is Esther.
Yes, Esther.
My question is, what will you put in your profile summary if you don't have work experience? Will you just have the skills?
You know, you as a person, Esther, you have attributes. You have maybe gone through your internship. Through your internship, you don't have to list the number of years of experience uko nazo, but you can say, Esther, let's say you're an IT professional with experience in development of web applications, development of this and this, because you've learned that in your internship. You see, those are the experience yenye umepata. Alafu kona zile attributes zenye zina make Esther as an individual as outstanding. Yeah, those ones that make Esther a person that is attractive. Then you highlight those attributes. You can say you're a flexible person, you know, those kind of things that you are, that someone else is not, or those ones that will motivate or encourage your employer to work with you. And then you of course have your qualifications. So I believe there is hauwezi kosa kitu ya kuandika hapo. You don't need to list the number of experience. No, you don't need to. I'm just saying you need to just list that you have experience in your you don't need to say it's in your internship. You just say you have experience in working, or you have experience in these areas. That just summarizes it. Sawa.
Yes, thank you.
Florence?
Yes, I would like to ask, where do we place the summary? Like, see the way there is like, you follow a certain order, where specifically can you place the summary?
The summary, we want to have it directly after you're done with your biodata, because we said the employer might not look at your entire CV. Na summary ndio itampea a brief history of who Florence is. So nataka uiandike after umeandika biodata. The rest then can follow. But your summary just basically is important to be at the top, because hiyo ndio ni kama unajichocha kwa hiyo summary. Sawa?
Okay, thank you.
Sawa. Okay. I think then we can go to our next content. The next content is your educational background. Your education background just simply lists the accomplishments. Ama ile kitu umesomea. Unaanza with your highest ama your most recent degree. Maybe you're not studying ama ushamaliza kusoma. Andika ile yenye the highest level of education that you have. And then ufuate na hiyo ingine. Then follow the next one, the next one, the next one as you go. Do not leave out any education that you have maybe gone through over the years. Yeah. And when you're writing your education, make sure to include the period of study. That's when ulianza lini na ukamaliza lini. Your what certificate ama what was the result of your education. Kama ilikuwa certificate, degree, diploma, right? It was a degree in this and this. And if it was a degree, did you get a diploma? Did you get a if it was a degree, unaweza sema you got a second class upper. If it was a diploma, you can say a pass or certificate, you got this and this. Include that. And also include the institution where you underwent or you went through to get these qualifications. I know sometimes we have this online classes or online kuna hizi online certificates unafanya na unapata. If you're going to include anything in your education background, ensure you have facts or proof to support it. Kwa sababu kuna mtu anaweza kuwa alimaliza degree yake but hajawahi enda kuclear. Yeah? It's important that we organize hizo vitu zisikudisqualify, because you see again, you might be called in for a job and you had indicated that I have a degree and I got a second class upper. Iko wapi your certificate tuonyeshe. Yeah? So include anything that you include in your CV, be sure to be able, you can support it. The next is your employment history. So same to the education background, in your employment, pia una list your most recent job to your first job. Ama whatever your job that you're currently holding to the first job that you ever went. If you've not had any experience in this sector, you will include your internship in this area. You'll include your attachment hapa kwa hii section. Kwa sababu again, we do not want your employer to have a feel that you have really not made an effort to grow your skills ama to gain some experience. If it's some volunteer work that you've done, include this hapo. So as long as the organization you are working with, wakipigiwa simu wanaweza sema nilifanya kazi na huyu. So, and there are those things that maybe we do after we have tumemaliza shule, maybe you're in that long holiday period. It's not internship, it's not an attachment, but umekuwa ukifanya kazi. If it's relevant, you can also include that. Sawa. So when we are writing our employment history, I said when you're writing your employment history, you will include your job description. These are the responsibilities and roles you are performing at that job. If you are engaged, your role was to answer and include that. But again, I want you to also be very specific. You quantify your accomplishments. Do not say maybe while you are working as a customer service or as a salesperson, you sold or served customers for this period. It's good that you quantify your accomplishments. Maybe you can say you are able to close customer complaints or reduce the turnover time for customer complaints response time from 6 hours to 2 hours. You see, you've shown actual work. Imeonyesha yes, job yako ilikuwa kurespond to customer complaint, but the difference you made in that organization, you reduced this to this. Ama you improved sales from this number to this number. Sawa. Ama while you are at your place, you can say you made sales of worth this much amount of money. Then it makes a difference from between you na ule mtu mwenye amesema I made sales to customers. Unaona, it makes a difference between wewe na yeye. I hope that is well understood. Before we go to the next one, I'll take questions hapa tusikie. Where should we include maybe certificate of appreciation or participation? These are, we'll get to a section where I shall indicate where we shall be including your certificates of appreciations and other supporting documentation. So Maureen, I'll answer you that in a few. What if I don't have an attachment or an internship? If you do not have attachment or internship, have you volunteered anywhere before? If you have, then include that. But kama tena hauna hata hiyo volunteer work, there are some schools kuna easy projects maybe you work on, kuna hii paper, summary paper yenye unafaa kufanya. Maybe you can include that as one of your as your work experience. Yeah, you can say let's say between 2005, August 2005 to September, October to November 2005, you can say you are handling a project.
Lucy, we lost you for a moment. Lucy? Lucy, if you can hear me? Okay, sorry for that. Let's wait Lucy to rejoin and she'll pick up from where she has left. Meanwhile, let me see what's in the comment section and try to answer if there are any questions that I can pick from that section. Okay, I will start with Samuel Mosembi. Is it advisable to include work experience not related to your career, e.g. you did commerce, say finance option, but got an internship in the sales and marketing? As much as possible, even if you have done various work or some work.
Sorry for that inconvenience.
Okay. Welcome back, Lucy. I was just tackling a question. I was just responding to a question asked by Samuel Mosembi. Is it advisable to include work experience in your career? E.g., you did commerce, say finance option, but got an internship in the sales and marketing department. So that's the question that we have from Samuel Mosembi.
Okay, Samuel, I think it depends on the job that you're applying for. if it's a finance related position, that experience may really not make a difference, especially if you really did not handle finance related activity responsibilities as a salesperson. But if you don't have any other experience, then you may need to include it just to show that you have an experience working in a corporate environment or in a working environment. But make sure you include that the responsibilities really try and encompass responsibilities that will speak on your behalf when it comes to work that is related to finance. Okay. All right. If there is no other question, because I think now that I'd been logged out, I can see the rest of the questions. Let's just go to the next one. After we are done with our employment history, we'll go to another place, a section where we call other information. But hautaandika kwa CV yako other information. No. You will just list other relevant information that will help you or relate to the job that you're applying for. For example, memberships and trainings, their awards, leadership roles and responsibilities, and your interest. For example, there's someone who has where ataweka certificate of appreciations. Then hapa ndio utaweka awards zako. Maybe you will say you can write your awards. Certificate of appreciation for this and this. Hapo ndio unaweka. Kama ulipewa award ya best performing student, hapo ndio pia utaweka. Then you can have another category of leadership roles and responsibilities, where maybe you can indicate if I was a captain for a school, if you are holding a position or maybe in the student council, hapo ndio utaweka. Your memberships and trainings, maybe you've done a one-day training on this and these things, include it hapo. If you're trained in first aid, you can include this hapo. If you're a member of maybe if it's an accountant, that accountant you can write it hapo. If you're a member of a HR professional group, include that hapo as well. Basically, don't write any information that is not relevant. Maybe some people end up wakieka hobbies, alafu anaeka partying, anaeka swimming. Unless you are applying for a position that is maybe an air hostess, penye ikikuja ni kuswim ni lazima, then I don't think that makes much of a difference. Sawa. And then that brings us to the end of writing your resume. It's very simple. You don't need to complicate it. You just basically need to be straight to the point. Just highlight what is relevant. And then hizo vitu zenye si relevant, avoid writing them. Hata usizieke kama haiko relevant at all. So someone is asking, when it comes to education, should you include places where you went for revision before doing final exams, such as IGCSE? Not really, because unless you got a certificate from IGCSE, it really wouldn't be weighty at all. Then someone is asking, suppose you worked for so long in a job that it's not relevant to the field of work, say 2 years, is it important to include it in the CV so as to avoid gaps in CV? If sometimes it's important, you can write just as you said to avoid hizo gaps ya mtu kuuliza Joshua alikuwa wapi for these 2 years, you can include it. Yeah. And then sometimes if you leave such a huge gap, employers tend to wonder what was this person doing for so long. But again, if you have a variety of work experience, you can choose to leave it out. Yeah, you can choose to leave it out if it's not going to build on your case. What about a letter of recommendation? Where do we include it? We don't really have anywhere we can include a letter of recommendation in your resume. This is because a letter of recommendation basically just supports either your work experience, maybe ulipewa after umefanya kazi mahali ama after umesoma mahali, then ndio unapewa your letter of recommendation. So basically that would be proof that you worked somewhere. Maybe that would be proof that Nancy alifanya na Matibabu Foundation. Yeah, na akapewa recommendation letter on the same to show that akona hizi na hizi skills, that she's a good employee. Hapo ndio utaitumia. It can form part of your attachments. Can you use your transcripts if your certificate is not out? Yes, you can use your certificate, your transcripts, because again, sometimes you can. For me, I got my first job before I even got my certificate. Interesting, yeah. Sikuwai hata afadhali wewe uko na transcripts. I think God's grace was just upon me. I just got my first job without a transcript, without a certificate, but funny thing, because of how my CV was presented, it was encouraging to my employer that I'm a determined person, that I'm really a person that can work and perform. So should one include ongoing studies in education background? Yes, include that. For example, if you're doing a master's or you're doing your CPA level exams, just include that you're doing your CPA, you just write period utaweka ulianza lini, na hapo kando utasema you're ongoing. Sawa, na umefika level gani. Someone is asking if you're self-employed, e.g. a business. Is it relevant to what you're doing, to the job you're applying for? If it's relevant, then you can include. But again, it's okay, you can include and really just highlight the responsibilities of what your business is. Just try and phrase them in a good way, because again, imagine if you're a hawker. Some people may tend to capture it as a, it depends when you capture you as a, wacha tuache kusema hawker, unauza manguo, capture aje hiyo kwa CV yako. Hiyo ndio ita make the difference. Maybe if you can say self-employed, then you can write the list of things that you were able to make sales of this much money between this and this time. You're able to reach out to customers through online platforms. You see, it makes a difference between mtu mwenye anasema tu self-employed afu akasema did my own business. Hapo kuna tofauti kubwa. Ukisema ulikuwa self-employed afu you highlight those leadership skills, those entrepreneurship skills, it makes those sales skills zenye umegain ukiwa kama business person, ina make you stand out. And if, for example, if that employer was looking for someone who is in sales, and either consider you did your first KCSE and then went to rewind, how will you put it? Put the most relevant one. Hannah, for example, kama KCSE ya kwanza ndio ulipita ama ya pili ndio ulipita, eka hiyo yenye ulipita. Sawa? Because sometimes unaweza rudi kufanya KCSE ukihope utapita, alafu unapata ile ya kwanza hata ilikuwa afadhali. Eka yenye ilikuwa umepita. Sawa? Should we include the secondary and primary level? Yes, you can include that. Include university, secondary, and primary school as well. But if you have maybe a number of certificates or degrees that you have achieved, then become kuweka primary school sio lazima, because I mean if you went to high school lazima ulikuwa umepitia primary school. I think like clubs and sports really important. Again, it depends on the kind of job that you're applying for. If you're really looking for a job as a gym instructor, sports would really be a good thing for you. You would include that in your CV because it will speak well of you. If it's not relevant, maybe if you're looking for a day-to-day place unakaa kwa ofisi, it might not be that relevant. Can one have more than one resume each for the degree? Can one have more than one resume each for the degree you did? Beatrice, maybe you can just speak out and let me understand what you're trying to say.
trying to ask, maybe you've done a degree in BA. It has maybe sociology and psychology, sociology and political science, something like that. So should you have a degree like specifically for sociology, then another one specifically for political science? How can you merge the two?
No, you can include the two in your education, hapo kwa nini, kwa education background, kama sai ziko relevant. Tena, it won't hurt to show that you have had education. Unajua si kama kazi, your education is not like your work experience, where your work experience is not relevant sana, kama ni maybe ulikuwa ulianzia kazi kama a conductor na unatafuta kazi ya IT. Unaona hiyo haiko relevant sana, so hiyo unaweza ignore. Your education just shows that you have a vast experience, knowledge in a number of areas. You have a knowledge in a number of areas, so it wouldn't hurt if you include the two of them in one CV. Just shows that you have knowledge in a number of areas.
Okay, I was asking that because in the career objective, it kind of makes you confused which path to take when you're writing the career objective.
Apana. You see, again, we are aligning our CV to the job we are applying for. Sindio? So kama maybe una apply for let's say, what job? What are you looking forward to doing? Public relations, tuseme, sindio?
Yeah.
Tuseme you're doing public relations na pia umefanya psychology. Ila kitu, what you will do is, in your application, your career objective relate more to to public relations. And your highest level of education, ama the education yenye utataka ikue, kama zote ni degree, utaanza na your public relations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
Your CV is mostly what changes. Your education, you can just maintain is maybe uta prioritize ama venye utazieka ndio uta change to kulingana na kenye una apply. Yeah. Okay. That is what will change. But make sure your CV is really specific to the job you're applying for, because that's the most important thing. When you show your employer that you're really interested in that job, they really want to have you on board. So don't make your career objective general. You can always change your career objective to meet the organization that you're looking forward towards working with.
Thank you.
Yeah. Someone is asking whether it's necessary to have a photo in your resume. It's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. One, because sometimes HR is a human being, sindio? Na utaki watu wa prejudge before wakuone. Sa zingine, if you're confident of how you look, you can put your picture. But then again, you do not want a situation where people are judging you just because of how your picture looks like. So just let people see who you are by your qualifications, your skills. Let that speak out to you. But some people usually just include their pictures, but I don't find it necessary. Because utapata HR ameangalia anasema, hey, okay, sawa, huyu hapana. No, na hapeani reason yoyote mzuri. So hatutaki such kind of situations. Let it not draw attention from your skills. No. Sometimes, which is what happens most. I have had situations where I've seen a CV, kitu ya kwanza naona ni picha. Honestly, sometimes hata wewe ukiona picha unaanza kujiuliza, sasa hapa alipigiwa wapi? Alikuwa anafanya nini? Unaona hiyo time mtu angetumia kwa CV yako, anaanza kufikiria vitu zenye hazihusu kazi. All right. I think, should you include your total orphan in your biodata to stand a chance of sympathizing with you? No. I know, no, do not include that. Because what your employer would really be looking at is like you're looking for sympathy. But we do not want your employer to employ you because you're creating empathy from them. No, do not include that. It really is not relevant to the job. Unless una apply these jobs. You see, there are different types of applications. You can submit your CV. Kuna these online platforms where they create this what do we call them, subsections for you to include information. Maybe they've included, write your name, your CV. They can ask such questions like, are you disabled or not? If you are, yes, you can tick yes and then include. That's if the employer has requested for that information. But if it's not requested for, do not include it. Someone is asking whether about referees. No, I said we are looking at resume writing, cover letter, and writing of references. So references, we are going to look at them, but that doesn't mean they're not included in your CV. All right.
Hello.
Yes. I see some courses are posted. There's no special under the course. Just a minute, Stephen. Sorry, I can't quite get
Can
you.
I continue?
Yes.
Are you getting me now?
Okay.
I was saying, on the place that we just we were just in the place of the awards and the certificates. For example, you have a situation like, just use my example, like my official names are Stephen Kitsap. That is what is found in my ID, a national ID. But again, you see, I've been volunteering. Then the CVs, when they come, the certificates, when they come with the awards, like they are written Stephen Marsha. So can it have an effect that I'm sending my CVs to?
One, when you're writing your CV, this will now, because we are not really going to include kwa CV yako ati maybe your certificate is written this and this. What you would need to get is an affidavit that says that Steve Marsha and Steve, the other name as per your CV, are the same person. So that maybe after you've been invited for an interview and they ask to see your CVs, you can present your affidavit and your certificates to show that Steve Marsha and Steve are the same person. So these certificates actually belong to you as Steve. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sawa. So I think I'll answer the last question so that we can get to the next question, to the next section. So include your units you've done in a way to show the course, what the course entails. Sometimes you might need to. You can include that to support maybe the relevance of the job, the relevance of your education. Yeah, because some of us, for example, for me, I did a BA in a Bachelor of Arts. If I say just Bachelor of Arts, it really is very broad. I need to be specific. Say Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Psychology, then I include EmployAble. So we can go to the next section. We are looking at the difference between a resume and a cover letter. Maybe who can tell me what the difference is? Who can tell me the difference between a resume and a cover letter?
Okay, I can try.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Josephine talking.
Yes, Josephine.
I think resume is something that talk about yourself, as in your achievement, education, I mean your background, and your cover letter. It's a letter that you are sending to the company. The letter contains. Okay, I'll try. Okay, the letter is it's a bit, yeah. Okay,
you can say in Kiswahili.
No, okay. The letter is like you're trying to, I don't know how
What
to put
she's
it.
trying to say is like the cover letter is the letter of application towards the company that you're applying the job.
Yes, yes. I think you get it. Alexina.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
So a cover letter, I think it's an application letter, yes.
Yeah.
And what you write, okay, you convince the employer as to why you should be employed.
Okay.
Because the CV, so many people may qualify. So why should you be the best fit? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I think Harriet, you can just say as we go, we can look at it now.
I think a cover letter is a letter to the employer asking for that job or applying for that particular job. Then you attach a CV to give a brief overview of who you are and why you are fit for that position.
That's okay. I think, thank you. I see all of you have a brief idea of what we are talking about, and you're actually very right. A cover letter is just basically, as it says, it's a cover. It's just an introduction before someone can get an opportunity to go through your CV. They're just telling I'm interested in this job, and this is why I am a good fit for this job. All right, we'll go to the difference, or we can just go to the next slide, Joseph. A resume states the fact of who, what, when, and how, and then your cover letter provides an opportunity to explain why you are qualified for the job. So, as I said, I've just shown you a list of how your resume or the format or the contents of your resume, how it should look like. I've not said that is a rigid form. I've said it's not rigid, but those are the most important things that you should not lack. Basically, your cover letter is written in a letter format, including a salutation and several paragraphs and a closing. Because this is just saying, mi naitwa Lucy, nimefanya hii na hii, na this is why I'm good for this job. Yeah. Ni kama kujintroduce venye, assuming you just walk in an office. Venye utasema hapo, good morning, sir. My name is Lucy. I've seen an advertisement for this and this position. And I have skills in this and this is why I feel I'm a good fit for this job. I am able to work under pressure. It's just basically venye ungejiintroduce tu kwa employer yako ama venye ungeenda kwa ofisi ujiongelele. This is how your cover letter should be like. So we can go to the next slide and just see. We can just see the contents of your cover letter or your application letter. So, as I've mentioned, your cover letter is just basically, when you're sending out your cover letter, you will mostly accompany it with your CV. You can go to the next slide, Joseph. Thank you. As I said, cover letter itakuwa imeaccompany na CV yako, kwa sababu hii unajiintroduce useme nimeona kuna hii na nafasi hii na hii, na niko skilled na hii, na ndio maana nadhani you're a good fit. So, and then you attach your CV as we've been told. So your cover letter may make the difference between obtaining a job interview and having your resume ignored. That's true, because hapa pia unajichocha kama venye ulijichocha pale kwa summary, profile summary yako. So utajichocha na useme, these are the things that I'm skilled in, these are my qualifications, and this is why I am fit for this job. So how are we going to be writing this application or cover letter? We'll start first with the first section of your contact information and your addresses. You'll have your address as a person. We'll have the address for Whitney. Atandika her name, her postal address. If she doesn't have a postal address, she can use her email address and phone number. And then you'll go research. Usiseme ati naandika to whomever it may concern kwa sababu nimetafuta nikakosa postal address ya mwenye naandikia. It becomes too general. And I know sometimes when we are looking for jobs, unakwanga tu umechoka kuandika hizi cover letters, umeandika application letters mingi, so unakwanga na ile moja general yenye unatumianga kila mtu. Ukiambiwa kuna hii job, kuna cover letter unaituma. So avoid doing that. Don't just generalize and say that this is to whomever it may concern, alafu uendelee kujitetea. Hapana. It shows when you write the address for the employer, it just shows that you've taken time to get to know them. So include the address. If you're addressing it to the head of human resource, write that postal address and then complete. Then you can start with dear sir or madam, depending on if you have information on whether that person is a lady or a gentleman. But if you have no information, then it's okay. You can just say dear sir or madam. Then you can write your subject title. Maybe if you can write application for a job as a customer service executive. But sometimes we have job postings that are very specific. They require that you indicate the job name and job reference number. So that if that is what the job has required you to do, include that. Don't just write your own things. All right. I want us to just remember and remind ourselves that even as we are doing our CV, even as we are doing our cover letter, we are really being specific to what the employer is asking for. So if the employer has asked that you refer to the specific job name and job reference number, include that as they have indicated. Then you'll go ahead to introduce. Tell the employer, how did you hear about that job advertisement? And why do you think you're a good fit or you're an ideal candidate for that job, right? That is your first paragraph. The second paragraph, just list hizo skills zako. And I believe these are the same skills you will have listed in your profile summary so that you don't have a contradicting cover letter from your CV. No, let it be, let them talk in the same language. Wacha ziende pamoja. Then after you've done that, list your, just thank the employer. Tell them thank you for going through. I believe this, I'll be a great value add to this company, and I look forward to engaging with you in future. And then that's basically it. Umemaliza. You write your name and sign off on it. We have situations where you are required to just send via email. For example, I am asking you to send me your cover letter or your resume. Don't just send your resume, unaandika pale kwa email, unaenda na unatuma. Hujaji introduce? No. If you're doing your application via mail, your cover letter, hizo vitu tumeongelelea hapo, ndio utaweka kwa content ya email. Now when I talk about content, I'm not talking about the subject line. The subject line should be very brief. Kama venye ile ya cover letter ama application letter inasema, that's the same. That's how brief the subject line should be and specific to what the employer has requested. For the addresses, when it comes to email, your address looks at or inasimamia your own contact information, and the employer's contact is due. Sawa. So hautahitaji tena kuandika tena postal address yako pale chini ama ndani ya email. Hapana, you won't need to do that. And then you will attach your CV and any other supporting documentation, right? I think that's it for our cover letter. It's just basically as brief as it sounds, yeah? And we can go through a few guidelines. I've talked about them as we were going through the contents. We said get thorough information about the job. That is where it's located, the postal address, the person to whom we are sending those requests to, so that you just don't address it to whomever it may concern. If the job has required you to mention the reference number of the advert, include that. Highlight your qualifications, contributions, and attributes that help you stand out. Be honest and sincere and state only facts. I say don't lie because, again, when you lie, we have background checks that employers conduct. And if your background check does not meet what you had indicated either in your CV or your cover letter, then your integrity becomes questionable. Employer anaanza kujiuliza, na kama anaweza danganya, then this is not a person we would want to work with. Let your positive attributes and qualifications speak about you. This is where I say do not evoke sympathy. Don't write about ile story of being an orphan. No, that's not important. Your qualifications are going to speak for you. So you don't need to evoke that sympathy. Again, punctuation, grammar, and spelling mistakes, things that we do not take into account. Ama sometimes unaandika kwa haraka sana that you don't get time to go through it. Go through it. Ensure kama ni grammar unafaa kuandika this and this way, just write that is in specific ways. Be specific, because it shows you're organized, you're keen in details. But you can say I am an organized and what do we say? I'm an organized and keen to details. I'm trying to say keen to details. If you don't say that, but then umeandika curriculum vitae hata yenyewe hujajua kuspell, unaona, then it means you're not even too sure of what you're saying. To help you in this, you can have someone else look at your CV. They'll be able to see things that maybe you had not seen before. Unajua tena, if you look at something for a long time, wewe unaweza kosa kuona hizo makosa. Then be clear and concise and courteous. As we mentioned last time, there are some words unaweza sema, you're not trying to be rude, but how you've framed them, then it shows that you're being rude and disrespectful. For example, if I decide to just write my entire cover letter or application letter in capital letters, then what does that mean? Does anyone know what writing in caps mean?
You're shouting.
Yeah, you're shouting. Even when you're writing in red, it means you're angry or you're not happy. Yeah, those kind of things. So you can avoid. There's some fonts sometimes, if you're typing your cover letter or you're writing your CV, some fonts can be very confusing. Unapata iko na ile calligraph kiasi yenye haiweki numbers specifically vizuri. Avoid using such kind of fonts. Usitake kupea your employer a hard time going through your CV or cover letter. So that's basically it. Anyone with a question for that section, because we are done? You see how easy it is? Anyone with a question?
Okay. Is it a must to send it? Maybe you are sending online in form of a PDF format, or you can just send it as a Word document. Thank you.
All right, that's a very good question. It's important that everything that you're doing, even your CV, even your cover letter, your certificates, all of them should be in PDF format. PDF ensures that no one is able to copy your work. It ensures that your work remains true to you only. So that maybe we have organizations where we have people umemtumia, but someone else came across your CV, but akaona iko nzuri sana, akachange jina, akaeka jina ya mtu wao, ndio mtu wao apate kazi. See how giving it in Word can be a disadvantage. So ensure you PDF always. And if you're sending it a cover letter via mail, you can always sign off. It's important that you sign off, because when you sign off, it means you own up to it. It means it's me as Kevin, me as Jane, I've written it myself. All right, Kevin.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somewhere that some organizations use programs like to read the CV and the cover letters and even select the individuals that they will consider.
Yes.
I saw some that they are called applicant tracking systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see that most of us write CVs thinking that they will be read by people, then they are read by these programs. So are there what's your take on these type of hiring, or any tips on how we can write our CV and cover letters for such?
Yes, Kevin. I think that's also a good thing you've asked, and I thank you for that. That's true. The world of the HR's world has really evolved, and we are really going into, we call them human resource information systems. These systems are able to make work for the HR professional easier, such that company may receive 100 applications for one job. The system will be able to shortlist or provide a long list of a few candidates that the system thinks are able to meet the criteria. So what do we do so that you at least make it through the short list of the system? When you're writing your CV, ensure you capitalize on the requirements that the employer has made. Maybe if they said that they like someone who is fluent in this and this, include those keywords that they have used, use the same keywords in your CV, so that once the system is recognizing, because the system will be looking for those keywords that the advert had highlighted. So the system will also recognize those keywords in your CV. So include those keywords in your CV as well. All right? Okay, sawa. All right, I think we'll go to the next category, or the last component we'll be looking at today. This is how to write your references. Your references come as the last part of your CV. And I know some situations where we have some people leave out their references and they indicate up at the bottom, references available upon request. Yeah, you can do this. You can choose to do that. But then again, because we are fresh graduates, ama hatuna experience mingi, let us include our references, because they will build on how your CV, they will show a sense of honesty that everything that I've written here is honest and I am not hiding anything. So include your references, and when you're including your references, have them in a separate page. Having them in a separate page makes them really stand out, or really just easy to locate for the HR person. So include them in a separate page, and your page just include that these are John Mwaura's references. Then state the name of the person, the title they were holding, they are holding, the name of the company, their phone number and email address. Then go to the next one, same thing. Include the name, title, company name, phone number and email address. This is what your employer will be reaching out to, or these are the people that the employer will be reaching out to should you be a potential candidate, or should you have gone through the various levels and they are considering you for an opportunity. Remember last time when we were talking about job searches, we said that you record your applications. The number of applications that you've sent out, record them somewhere. And as same case for your references, if you've indicated or you've included someone as your reference, make sure to inform them so that they're not caught by surprise. And also, when it comes to writing your references, have professional references. Sometimes I know we are tempted to write your sister because maybe hauna kazi mingi, unaandika sistako, auntie yako. Don't include all your references to become to your, what is it called? Your people that you just have personal relations with. For example, if you include, I worked in Makutano as a customer service executive, my line manager will be my reference, or someone that we were working with in that organization will be my referee. Nisawa. So that's something that you need to include. Or again, if you decide to go that other way of having your references providing your references separately, have the same format. Include that these are John or Lucy Nyakeo's references. These and these are the contact people you can reach out to. Again, even sometimes you refusing to put references doesn't mean that your employer will not reach out to the organizations where you worked. No, the HR section has become very diverse, and people are finding various ways of doing background checks. You might not include someone that you worked with, but I will go to that extent of calling that organization and finding out, did this person really work there? If they did, then well and good. If they did not, or they worked in that organization and did not have a good reputation, maybe ndio maana hawakuweka hiyo referee, I will still find out, because it's part of the recruitment process for me to find more information about Mary, more information about Wanjao. Sawa sawa. There's someone asking, what if you worked in a family company and the most people that could be your references are your family or relatives? That's okay, include them. Because again, they were working in that organization. Yes. So there are people, sorry, I'm trying to read, I'm reading a question here. Our resume is more detailed overview of your work history, which that's okay. I am also sure. All right. I think that's okay. I think I can't see any other question that I've not looked at. We can finish off and just remind ourselves of the do's and don'ts that we have gone through today. We've said that your profile should become employer captivating, that your profile should really entice your employer to go through the rest of your CV. Your cover letter and CV should be a quick read. That is, it should not contain information that is not relevant. Be creative in your format. We have various ways of how you can do your CV. Yeah, as long as you've captured that content, you can be very creative of how your CV looks like. And by the way, your CV being creative, by your CV looking very nice, it really becomes or gives a good feel when someone is going through it. As we said, state results in your CVs, in your CV. Kama uli generate 500 sales, include you generated that. And then for the don'ts, don't leave important information at the end. For example, if for example you're the, what do we say? What information do people tend to leave out at the end? For example, the job advertisement has said that the holder or these people that are, what do we say? That holders or CPAK holders are a requirement, ama they are encouraged to apply. Then unaweza leta pale memberships zako uzilete hapo chini ya education background yako. Ni sawa? Then don't oversell or state your value. Don't oversell or state your value. That's hiyo inajiongelelea tu, usijiuze sana yenye huwezi prove. Ukitena, if you oversell yourself, the employer tends to see as if you're lying. Kwa sababu anatry kuuliza, why is this person struggling to just list their responsibilities? As we said, avoid typos, punctuations should be on point, your grammar, your spelling should be on point. We say don't be too general at all. Don't be too general. Just say don't say you are just selling. Selling is not enough. Be specific. And I think we've come to the end of our lesson today. And I'm very happy that we have come to the end, because I know now we can be able to do a CV. Catherine, we accept your apologies. That's okay. As well as Joel, no problem. Any person with a question that we can be able to look at? I know I'd mentioned something about So Yvonne is asking us to send a sample. What I'll do is in our next lesson, I'll come with 2 types of CVs so that maybe we can see whether we've all gained something from this lesson, so that you can tell me what works. You can see what I'm trying to talk about when I say a CV should be presentable. Someone is asking whether you'll recommend the use of apps to write a CV. You can, but as long as you give it your personal touch, because sometimes the apps can be very general. Unapata your CV format iko na kila mtu. Give it your personal touch at the end of it. Have a run through. Na kuna these apps saa zingine. I've seen applications from people who've had Fuzu write their CVs. Alafu inatoka ikiwa hapo nyuma imejiandika Fuzu. Unaona sasa ya hapo uishapoteza marks kwa sababu iko too general. Hii inaonyeshana hata si umejifanyia. Sawa? I can see Beatrice, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask, is there a section in the CV you can rate like your skills? You list down all the skills you have.
You can see this in your profile summary. You can list your skills. You can list those skills in your profile summary.
Okay. Okay.
Barbara?
Okay, my question is, okay, in the current world right now, well, there's so many things going on, and there's this thing that's called unconscious bias, whereby, for example, you'd say, for example, the way you tell us, sometimes someone can, you're not going to make it through an interview because of, maybe you've seen your picture, or some people just look at names and things like that, like things that might not touch on your qualifications. So like what's the role, or is there anything that's being done about it, or like as someone who's in the HR, like what would you say about it?
I agree. There is a lot of that we have really, the HR professionals, the world of work in HR, we are really having a lot of sessions on diversity and inclusion. This goes also to the people with disability. Organizations are becoming more, or they're sensitizing more on diversity and inclusion, so that you don't judge anyone based on how they look, based on how they have presented themselves. So I think it's just a sensitization that we are working towards ensuring that people, or the HR, us as HR, we are consciously reminding ourselves not to be biased because of whatever reason. Kevin, we have 3 minutes.
Okay, a quick question. Yeah, like now we are improving on our CVs and correcting them. I was requesting whether one can send their CV to you, like for a review or a critique. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Kevin, just repeat your question.
Okay, I was saying that, yeah, right now we are improving and correcting on our CVs. I was asking whether one can send their CV to you for a review or a critique on how they are.
We can look at them. We can find time and maybe see through. But what as I said last time, because I know we are quite a number in the class, so I would not want to say that I would encourage sote tutume. But any opportunity, maybe if you feel that you really have struggled, then at the end of this lesson, tutakuwa tumepata nafasi ya kuinteract. So kitu nitawaambia kama next time during our class, we'll be looking at 2 types of CVs, so that at the end of it, we see the do's and don'ts practically, and then the what you can capture, how you can make your CV look good. Next week, that is what we are going to be looking at.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Nazra, you can go ahead so that we can conclude.
Yeah, my question was, what is your opinion on using templates to write your CV? Like if you download a template from the internet and you personalize it. Yeah, what's your opinion on using that?
I think I really don't have a problem with that, as long as you've used the right word, you've used personalized it, because you've made it fit, or you've presented it as Nazra, and you've been able to capture a number of things as Nazra. So it's okay, you can do that, but again, avoid, if you can ask a number of your friends to share their CV formats, ndio usione upate uko na 3 of you are sharing the same format. So yeah, you can just go ahead and use, as long as it's not commonly used.
All right, thank you.
I think we're good. We are done for the day. And I think I've appreciated so much the time you guys have taken to sit down or listen to me. I appreciate your time. And I think we are really going to be heading somewhere. I think at the end of this lesson, at the end of this entire training, most of you will really be excellent when it comes to writing your CVs. All right, I think we're good. I think Jen and Joseph, I am done for the day. Thank you guys for the time. We'll see each other next week.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Lucy, for taking us through the lesson. Unfortunately, today we do not have either George or Jen, so I'll just be calling off the class in a while. Thank you for your participation in the class. Wishing you a very happy holidays, the Easter holidays. Take care, be safe. Hoping to meet soon after the holidays. That will be next week, Tuesday. You will be getting the link for the class on Monday. Thank you for joining and have yourself a nice evening. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Joseph, someone has a comment for you.
Okay, let me look at it.
No, I think Rosalind is asking that. I don't know what comment she has.
Hello, Joseph.
Yes.
Rosalind from
Okay.
my comment. I've attended the Zoom meetings and they usually
Rosalind, you are breaking.
you hear
Oh, sorry. Rosalind, you are breaking. Can't get you. If you don't mind, maybe I will post my email address on the chat box. Then you can text me the issue on email.
Okay, sure.